Hey guys, what we're doing today here is engine mounts, W202 C230. How this applies to 280 or 3.6 I do not know, because I'm not working on those two and I haven't worked on those two before. I'll show you the engine mounts are not the same left and right. Some places will try and sell the exact same one for left and right, but they have different stiffnesses. This is the left side or driver's side mount. Driver's side in the U.S. and Canada. Here on left-hand drive, and this is the passenger side, and it's got a rubber. It's like a heat shield for the exhaust. I guess it would be silicone. But anyway, they're two different mounts, and we're going to do the driver's side first. I've already taken off the plastic under tray under the car for 8mm bolts and lowered that out of the way. And now on top of the mount, it's going to be hard to see down here. I'm going to try and point to this for you. Right down on top of the mount, there's a 17mm bolt here. You can see it if you look straight down through the plastic intake manifold here. And you're going to need a couple wobble extensions and probably a swivel. That's what I'm using to get on it. Using just the swivel, I couldn't get on it properly. I could get on it, but not properly. To loosen the bolt, you want to be perfectly on there, or else you're just going to strip it, and that'd be a heck of a lot worse time. So I am using a wobble extension on a 3/8 here. See, it wobbles around. That's why it's called a wobble extension. Anyway, it gives you a little bit more freedom to move your extension around, and that gets on the 17mm nut perfectly. So I'm going to remove that 17mm nut on the top, and I don't know if you can see in there. I really doubt it. See if you can get that camera weight down in there. There's not really much light or space to see anything. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, there's not really much I can get down on there. So anyway, just believe me that there is a 17mm nut down there on the top of the mount, and you take that off first, and we'll go from there. Okay, I have rain threatening, so I have to hurry through this. I've jacked the car up a little bit, put it on a jack stand. I don't think I really needed to do it in order to do this, but so you could see it better, I've jacked it up. Someone's horny. Anyway, you can see the bottom of the mount there. See where it's cracked? The rubber in it. Anyway, we're under the car, and up inside the rear mount of the lower control arm, you'll see there's a hole there, and there's a 14mm nut. That's the bottom bolt on the engine mount. I've already got the jack set up, and a piece of plywood underneath it, underneath the oil pan, and I'm just going to gently lift the engine up after I take this. I've already loosened this bolt, and once I take this bolt out, we're going to jack the engine up and pull the old mount out, lower bolt. So you want to use a piece of wood underneath your oil pan, because that's where you're going to have to jack it from. You want to spread out the weight. You don't need to jack it up too high, just enough to clear the mount. So let's take a look on the top. Okay, so you can see the old mount there, and I'm going to try and figure out how we are going to wiggle this bugger out of there. I think it's going to come out through the back. Let me just reach down here and see if I can move this sucker around. Not a lot of room for your hand down there. I'm going to probably have to go from underneath. So anyway, let's try that. again. Hopefully you can see the light is on the mount down there. I think if you turn the steering all the way to the left, that's going to clear the idler arm and it'll probably pop out. So I'm just going to turn the steering. I'll put this camera down. Okay, is that better or worse? I think we should go all the way to the right. Bear with me. Okay, let's see what we got here. Now there should be room to sneak this mount out back here. Okay, I apologize because sometimes you just can't do it and film it at the same time. Anyway, once I had the steering turned all the way to the right, I could reach down in there and grab the mount from the top, pull it up, and push it out toward the back. You can see it's kind of flopping against the steering arm down there, and I'm just going to go down there and yank it out. No reason to pull you down there with me. It's just going to be pop it out, and then we'll slip the new one in and align it up, and I'll show you aligning it up. Actually, before I put this new one in, I figured I'd pull them out and show you the old. Obviously you know which one's old and new side by side, and the new one's probably 4 or 5 millimeters taller, but a heck of a lot firmer. I could stand on this one and compress this. Actually, I can almost compress this by hand, pushing down on it. I can get movement with my hand pushing down on this one. And the new one, the tiniest bit, but I really got to heave on it. This one is, yeah. Anyway, so we're going to pop this new one up from the back at the bottom, and then line it up. You'll see there's a little tab here on top of the mount. This is the bottom, this is the top. There's a little tab that down here on the top mount. You'll see there's a little fork, that tab fits right into there, and that lines up the mount properly. And then it'll just be a matter of putting the 2 bolts in and lowering the engine down. So let's get to it. Okay, so once I've got the new mount in place down there, I took the old bolt, put it through the hole, and I'm just lining it up with the new one, with the new mount. And I'm going to have to lower the jack the tiniest bit because we had to raise it up to get the mount in there. So we're going to lower this engine, try and do it about 1/2 inch. There we go. I just want to get that top bolt started in the hole in the top of the mount. Again, it's kind of a two-handed job. It's not easy to film and do this at the same time. Anyway, that's going in now. So I'm going to line that up, the little tooth there, with the mount, and bolt that in. I know it's hard for you to see, it's way down in there, and it's kind of hard for me to get a camera in there and my hands all at the same time. But let me see if I can't place this camera somewhere so you can see. I don't know. I'll give a damn about the camera getting dirty, because that's what it's meant for. I don't know if you can see in there or not. blocking off all your light as soon as I go on. You can see the top of the mount there, the clean silver piece there, and you can see the little tooth on it. It has to see a little prong that has to line up with the prong on the top of the solid mount to the engine. And like I said, I'm just lightly screwing that in so it pulls up into that hole. But it wants to spin on me. There we go. Now it's aligned. I can just tighten that. Okay. And now what we're going to do is go under the car, and we're going to line up the bottom bolt in the bottom hole of the mount. And we're not going to release the we'll have to release the jack a little bit, because I think there's probably about ½ inch under there and the bolt's not long enough. So we're going to release a little bit of the weight on the jack to bring it down, and then line that bottom bolt up from the bottom. And once the two are lined up, we can drop it back on the weight of it back onto the mount, and then just tighten them up. Okay, so up inside from underneath, you can see the bottom bolt is in there, and fairly easy from under the car to get in there. Take a look. Make sure it's aligned. You can reach around from the front or back and pull the mount until it's lined up. Remember, we're still on the jack stand. We still have the engine supported. And now just a matter of tightening this. Excuse my, there we go. Tightening this 14mm bolt. Now, make sure that pin is still lined up down there on the top. You can see the pin going into the top of the mount. It's still lined up so we can take the weight off. Try and do this one-handed. Take the weight off the jack while I'm holding this camera. There we go. Down we go. That was just the jack handle arm dropping. Okay. So now you can see it on there, that bolt, a 17mm on the top. Can you get around in there and see it? Probably not. Horrible place to try and film, sorry guys. Anyway, that 17mm bolt, you just tighten it up again from the top like we did from to remove it. I'm guessing this is about 15 minutes start to finish. Yeah, without all the filming, 15 minutes. So, whoa, that's cool. Anyway, yeah, don't let this scare you. As long as you got a floor jack, a friend would help, just to help a second set of hands to help maneuver the, lift and raise the jack, so you don't have to keep getting up from under the car and whatever, and to align that mount when it's in there. Anytime you're under a car, it's always good to have a friend there anyway. But as a person who's been stuck under a car by a collapsed jack, and I did have jack stands, but it wasn't enough. I was just pinned under there. I wasn't hurt, but I couldn't get out. So take your time, and if you have, like I said, if you're jacking up your car, it is better to have someone there. If not, just make sure you're safe.